Hey, what's going on, everyone? Justin again. As always, thanks for watching my channel. Welcome back. Cheers to those of you that have your toddies instead of beer tonight. Thought I'd do a little Jack and Coke. All right, so if you've been following me on Instagram, you already know that we had a customer that came in today. And this customer had a Chrysler Town and Country or something like that. And he wanted us to further investigate the rodent damage that he had. He had a couple of pigtails himself that he wanted us to tie back in and fix into the harness. And he wanted us to check out his ABS light concern. So he comes in. He's a walk-in, mind you, okay? He doesn't have an appointment. There's other people in front of him. So we tell him, yeah, you know what? Drop it off with us. We'll try to tie it in today and see if we can't get it done for you by this afternoon or what have you. The guy, I don't know, call it irritated, call it whatever you will, proceeds to go back out to his van and pulls out I don't know, 156-piece mechanic set, throws it open, starts working on his own van on the property. Now, this is a huge no-no. In case some of you guys don't already know, it's not just disrespectful, it's actually also a liability. Let me go into a little further detail. So let's go with the liability portion first. On commercial property, you can't just start busting out your toolkit and start going to town. It becomes a liability. I know you've probably seen that guy, and I'll put the picture down here in the corner. We've all seen that guy, be it at Walmart, be it maybe at a dealership or even another shop, has a little incident, is not happy, and then thinks he's going to be MacGyver on spot and just start going to town. You can't do this, because if something happens to you on that property, that company is liable. They could have a lawsuit on their hands, and if you die, that's even worse, okay? So that's a no-no. In case you guys didn't already know, that's a no-no. Can't do it. Let's also talk about other liabilities that are associated with not just residential areas that are gated communities, but also apartment complexes. You also can't just willy-nilly bust out your toolkit and start going to town, because you don't actually own that property when you're renting an apartment, so you can't just start working on it there for the same reason. Now, in a gated community, this might fall underneath like one of those HOA kind of deals where they don't want to see it. It adds a little bit of ugliness to the community as it is, and ergo, you just can't. Otherwise, they'll cite you, fine you, whatever, possibly even get you to move on down the road. So be it that it may, you can't just do whatever you want, when and how you want to do it. Now, this might be different if you live out in the middle of BFE or in the middle of nowhere, like myself, like, I don't know, any of you country folk out in the South. That's a little bit different, okay? You have a little bit more freedom. If it's your house, it's your house. But again, I bet they still have the same exact rules apply when it comes to apartment complexes, duplexes, and gated communities. I don't know. I don't live back east. I don't live in the South. I don't live in Texas. So every state's a little bit different. You have to do your own research on that. Let's get back to what was going on, though. So call it irritation. He goes out, starts busting out this toolkit, starts going to town. He's got his own pigtails. He's not willing to wait, doesn't care, just starts wrenching on it, right? Now, we could have kicked him off the premise right away, but sarcastically, my boss went up to him and he's like, because it was just a couple of wires, so it's not like he's getting down and dirty and pulling intakes off, but he's like, hey, do you want us to work on your car, or do you want to continue working on it? Why don't you come let me know when you're ready for us to work on your car? The guy says, okay, and proceeds. Busts out his phone. I could see him thumbing through YouTube. I could see him going through Google search, trying to look for some kind of wiring, whatever. He's in his overall. It's ridiculous. He took it to the extreme. So some people made the comment on the Instagram post that I did, well, maybe he was looking for a job and wanted to show how good he was. I don't know what the guy's ordeal was, but again, don't be this guy. I'll put the card down here. If you're gonna do it, look, don't do it on somebody's property, because again, not only is it a liability, but it's very disrespectful, okay? You're basically saying, I don't trust you to work on my car and get it done in a timely manner, so I'm gonna start working on it right here, right now. Have the common courtesy to go back to your house or wherever it is that you came from, or even just down the street where it's not owned by anybody, and then do whatever you're gonna do, and then when you get stuck, then come back or whatever. Don't just bring it in and assume that you can start working on it, because realistically, we should have just kicked him off the premise. But he got to a stopping point, and he's like, okay, now I'm stumped. You mind finishing it? So then he took off for a little bit. We actually had the car. I think Joey diagnosed the ABS thing, fixed it for him or whatever. More rodent damage, more on the underneath side. And then sent him on down the road. So I guess he saved himself a little labor, because he really bubblegummed the crap out of the wires that he attempted to fix himself. He just tied them together, a little twisty, and then threw some electrical tape around it. Piss poor fix, if you ask me, but again, That is entirely up to him. It is his car. He can do what he wants. Just don't be that guy and start doing it in front of somebody else's business, though. But I want to hear your guys' stories. Have you ever seen this? Have you seen it at the dealership? Have you seen it at the independent shop? As a shop owner, would you allow this to happen to begin with? I want to know. Put it down in the comments. And if you're that guy, I double dare you to put it down in the comments and say, yep, I've done that. That's all I got for this video. Cheers to those of you that have your toddies, because we're going with a little bit of Jack and Coke today. And I'll see you next video. Cheers and deuces.